Farah London, welcome to our Global Women community.
Thank you, Mirela, and thank you, everyone. It's such an honor to be here. I've been so excited to join this masterclass. I think it's incredible what you're doing, always empowering and inspiring women. And yes, I am passionate about business. I'm passionate about people. I love people. And yes, I am actually very busy these days because I'm running in a live election. We have an election, so I am in campaign mode. We have election on May the 2nd. And I'm running for the London Assembly. And the London Assembly is actually effectively the Parliament of London. It's the decision-making table, 25 elected people that make the major decisions for London and Londoners. So that's why, it's so important that we must stand up and fight for what we believe in.
Oh, thank you so much, Farah, for representing women in politics, in business, and with your positivity and feminine energy. We can see that everything is possible. You can look gorgeous, beautiful, very feminine, but very powerful and very strong, and standing there for being who you're meant to be. So you're following your path, you're following your mission. So tell us a little bit about your journey. First of all, I want to ask, I guess everybody's curious to know where the surname London is coming from. I really would love you to share that story, because it tells that you have choices not only to decide who you want to become, but to decide for your name, to decide for your surname, to decide for the place you live, to decide for the people you want to live with. You have choices to decide for everything. And today we're talking about decision makings. Yeah. So tell us, what is it about?
I love to talk about this because it's actually a very personal story and a personal journey. So I'm happily divorced. I always like to say happily divorced because I'm happily divorced. Now, when I was married, me and my partner were a powerhouse. We were that perfect couple. Everyone said, I aspire one day that I'm in that kind of marriage. You guys are an inspiration and you guys are amazing. And we were a power couple, undeniable. We walk in a room, people knew it was us together. And I obviously, when I got married, I did the typical thing. I changed my surname to his, and I built my brand based on that name, So then I became this person, this brand. Me and him built a brand together. He had his own business, end of hours going on. I had my own, but I built myself my own brand. Now, as is life, unfortunately, things fall apart, you get divorced. And then I realized, who am I? I'm going through a divorce, but this surname isn't me anymore. I just wanted to have a shower and wash myself of everything. And then I had to do some soul searching of who am I? Who is Farah? And then that's where I really went into contemplation. He said, oh, you can keep my surname. I said, no, that's your name. That's not me. That's not my identity. I now need to rebrand myself because I became this brand. And now this brand needs to rebrand and become me, because it's no longer you and I, it's about me now. So I was obviously soul searching and thinking of some crazy names, what represents me. And, I went through an interesting list, and some of the names I came up with were not suitable, because when you Google them, you realize, oh, that's a porn star. Definitely not me. So definitely, I went through some soul searching, and then I said, you know what? I'm going to leave it to God. Put it in my heart. Who am I? What's the name, And then within 5 minutes, London came in. And it was London. I was like, London is who I am. Born and bred in London. London is my identity. That's how I identify myself, London. And I said, surely I can't change my name to London. Can you even do that? So I actually Googled it, and I learned when people moved from London to the US, they actually changed their name to London because that was their identity, where they were coming from. So then that's when Farah London became Farah London. I changed my name immediately, and people, even though they thought it was crazy, they actually said, it actually suits you. And that has now been, the identity that I have created for myself. And that is my brand. And I will never need to change that again. If I ever did decide to get married, I wouldn't change my name again, because it's about my identity, who I am.
That's so true, Farah. Absolutely. And this is what we are learning every day, because when we are young, we just think, everything is going to flow, everything is going to be whooshy, easy going. But we go through challenges, we go through tough times, we have wake up calls, we have breakthroughs, we have traumas. And I was telling before you came, I was having a private chat with some of the members to say, honestly, every challenge, it makes me feel so good about myself. Every hardship, it makes me feel stronger. As they say, you do not wish to have less problems. You just wish to be bigger than the problem. You wish to be able to see the problem as something that is going to help you to grow and to become a better version of yourself. So your story is absolutely inspirational and is a story that everybody can resonate with, because I never have heard one woman. I have met thousands around the world. I never met one woman that didn't tell me that she had to go through some challenges. She had to go through some tough time. And for some people, it takes a little bit longer. And for some people, we just take it and say, okay, here I am now. How do I get out of this? And my favorite thing is like, okay, now here I am. I am not going to create more dramas because I had enough. The very first question I asked, how do I get out of this? It doesn't matter whose fault it is. It doesn't matter. My fault, other people's fault. Maybe, yes, I'm an angel. Maybe I never did anything wrong. Who cares? But, or maybe it's all your fault. It doesn't matter. Don't stick with that. Just ask, how do I get out of this? And the second question is, how do I get out of this as soon as possible? Now, your story, it reminds me this. You just came immediately with ideas. So say, who am I? What happened? And how do I build a new self? How do I build a new future? How do I build a new path? And I love, who has seen my TEDx talk? It's all about killing the cow. The cow is a symbol, not the real cow. You have to kill what is stopping you, what is getting you stuck. And Farah's story is exactly, you give birth to a new self. I remember when I shared my TEDx talk, it was exactly like this. I told my ex-husband, I said, I am sorry, my darling. I have killed your wife. She doesn't exist anymore. Is dead. Go and grieve for her, cry for her. Look at me. Do I look like your wife? I'm not your wife. I'm sorry. So Farah reinvented herself. So what did it take for you, Farah, to reprogram yourself, to recreate yourself, to give yourself a new name, a new face, a new brand, a new self? How did that happen? Of course, it didn't overnight, yeah.
Obviously, you have to go through a journey. When anyone goes through a divorce, it's especially if it's under circumstances beyond your control and you're in shock what's going on. And yes, I probably did stay one day in bed. And then I thought, hang on a minute. I choose to take this situation and empower myself instead, because I choose not to be a victim of my story. I choose to be empowered. So that's when I made a choice of empowering myself instead of becoming a victim of a story. Don't allow yourself to be a victim. No, you become empowered. Empower yourself in that situation. And then go conquer what you need to do. And that does come with a new identity. What I loved about being divorced was it was now about, who am I? Who is Farah? What do I stand for? What do I like? What don't I like? It's an amazing journey when you go on this with yourself, because it's about self-discovery. And it is a process. It's not something that happens overnight. It's allowing yourself to rediscover who you are. What do you like? What don't you like? Would you like to do? And you just reinvent the identity from within. And one thing, again, we're talking here about leadership and influencing leadership.
Yes. Can I step up with a question here? Because
I'm going to say one thing that's so important is direction. You need to know, what direction am I going in? And that is key on leadership. Because if you don't have a direction that you're going in, and it's okay to stumble, it's okay to fail, get back up. I always say I get back up, but go on, Mirela, what's your question?
Yeah, leadership itself is starting to lead yourself. So it's incredible. Wherever I see great leaders who bring communities together, who cherish them, who empower them, who elevate them, is because they give something they have. You can't give something you don't have. So first of all, yes, as far as saying, make sure you have chosen a direction. It doesn't matter. And I say, yes, there is no such thing overnight, but there is something that you can do overnight. Take a decision. Choose a direction. That is the key word I'm taking from you right now, Farah. Choose a direction. It doesn't matter. It can be wrong. At least start. Because you never know where you're going until you get the first step. And then you lead yourself. You learn how to lead yourself. So how important is to learn leading yourself, Farah?
You can't lead others until you can lead yourself. So once you're able to understand the journey that you're going on and you have clear direction or even a sense of purpose, I think sense of purpose is very important because you identify with a vision, you have a dream. So once you're able to say, you know, I see myself going in this direction, I want to achieve this. And it doesn't matter if you don't know how you're going to do it, but you need to move towards something. One thing I encourage everyone, do not sit there and say you want to achieve something, but then don't do any actions towards it. You have to keep moving. You have to walk into that. Walk and keep walking. You don't need to worry about how you're going to get there, who you're going to meet, how am I going to get money, how am I going to do this. Forget that. It will all come. But you need to keep walking. If you don't walk, then you're never going to achieve anything because the whole world is passing by you. Opportunities are passing by you. And you're just sitting there, watching them, waiting for someone to give you something on a plate. Life isn't like that. You need to get up and you need to go grab that plate. You need to go grab those opportunities. You need to be seen, be visible, be heard.
Now, when you are seen and visible and you take yourself to that new journey, is it a bit scary, Farah? Is it a bit risky? Because we're discussing before we started this masterclass with a few other members of the community that the more you put yourself out there, the more risky it becomes because you grow the risk of, people judging you, people attacking you, people criticizing you, people competing with you. And it's a real world out there. And usually I say, okay, do you want to play safe? Stay home. We'll come and feed you. Now, tell us your real world. Have you faced this? Because as a result of your visibility and exposure and success, have you also been going through these challenges of taking risks?
If your dreams don't scare you, frankly, they're not big enough. And I always say that. Because if you're not dreaming big and you're dreaming in a safe zone, what are you trying to achieve? Challenge yourself, get out there, scare yourself, and then you'll know. Because when you achieve it, you're unstoppable. Be unstoppable. Be that person that is unstoppable. And how do you know? Of course, every day, like running in this election, I'm independent. I'm by myself. But I'm running an election up against the biggest political parties. But I have the courage to do that because I have my voice. No one can take my voice away from me. My voice is my asset. So I get out there and I knock doors. I talk to businesses. I talk to people because my voice is my asset. My voice is what makes people say, I like you. I'm going to vote for you because I speak with heart. I speak with honesty. So you have to use all the tools that you have. It doesn't matter if you don't have all the money in the world, but if you have the tools, you have a voice, you have attitude, you have the right mindset, you can achieve anything. So I, again, encourage people, you must challenge yourself. Don't sit too comfortably. If you sit so comfortably, how on earth are you ever going to grow? You need to always be innovating yourself. You need to grow. You need to go through challenges. And again, as a leader needs to be challenged to also grow that community that you're leading. Because everyone wants to excel in life. Everyone wants to feel empowered. So if you're not empowering yourself, how can you keep others empowered? You can never reach a glass ceiling. You need to keep going.
Wow. I am feeling very inspired right now, Farah. Absolutely. You are a great leader. And this is what we need to see in every leader. And um, uh, first of all, you shared that you know what you want, you stand for what you want, you are courageous, you choose a path, you have choices. I love the idea of choices, because many times people feel disempowered because they don't feel they have choices. And many times also we find excuses like, oh, I can't do this because of this. Or I, like, for example, when you stood for mayor of London, it was a COVID period, and you still overcame all challenges, and you achieved a great success, and you put your name out there. You have a name in the map of political arena now. So I want to ask you, when it comes to women nowadays, things have changed. Before, rules were very clear. Men would go out there and their duty was to make money, and women would stay home and take care of the kids and make sure that the needs of the family are met. But nowadays, there are more needs that we have to meet. Not only the needs inside the family, but the needs outside the family. We have come so far where we can work, we can have a business, we can travel, we can invest, we can take decisions when it comes to the financial decisions, but not many women are able to access what we access here, for example, in this group. Many times we underestimate the power of freedom and choices that we have, but we forget that sometimes we take it for granted. So the question to you is, if you would become a mayor tomorrow, and I know your aspiration is to become a mayor very soon, what would be your message to all women who have this freedom, who, let's say, live in London or live in a free country where they have lots of opportunities, that they are not tapping into it, lots of resources that they are not tapping into it? What would be the message?
You know, in all honesty, the biggest problem that we have with women is they don't put themselves forward. And I would encourage women, put yourself forward for those positions that you feel are not worthy of you. Why do you feel you're not worthy? What is it? Who is around you? Who is discouraging you, telling you that you cannot do things? Don't let society tell you that you can't. You can. So my message to women is do. We are great leaders. We are great. You obviously saw in the pandemic, the best countries that handled the pandemic were women leaders, countries led by women. Women are very good multitaskers, and we think very rationally. So we make natural born leaders. So you need to represent your communities. You need to represent society and bring positive change within that infrastructure. So yes, I would 100% tell women, stand up into positions of power so you can empower others. And a thing I always love, what I love about Mirela, what you do is you empower women, women empowering women, because unfortunately it is very cutthroat out there. And I see it all day long where women are trying to take down other women in the workplace. And that's not acceptable behavior. So challenge the narrative, call people out, call men out. I had I had an interesting meeting this morning where a man was trying to put me down because of what I'm doing and felt like I am out of my league. Well, I clearly, listened, but then I told him how he was wrong. So do not let people tell you that you can't do things. If you know you can do it, but don't ever let anyone, man, woman, or anything tell you that you're not good enough, that you can't do it. Because if it's in your heart, that's all you need. You need passion. Passion will take you there.
Wow, that's powerful. And we needed this message, Farah, because many times we see women don't step into their power or don't step into their talent or something that they are meant to do, not because they don't have the skills, not because they don't have the talent, but because they lack that courage. Because otherwise, I have a concept around a book that I translated years ago called Psycho Vampires. Maybe you come with a brilliant idea, you're very excited, you have passion for something, then you meet a psycho vampire that takes you all your energy and puts you in the corner, telling you that you're out of your league. Who you think you are? You can't do this. And then we get scared and we leave and we abandon our dreams. We abandon what we are meant to do, our purpose. As I said, it's very important that we connect with that purpose. We connect with the higher self that is guiding us instead of asking for guidance from these psycho vampires that most of the time are people who do not understand us, people who maybe they don't mean bad, but they think it's not possible. And maybe, even in your case, maybe this guy doesn't mean bad, but maybe he thinks it's not possible. And you know what? Maybe he's right. It's not possible for him or for many women that he has met in his life, but it's going to be possible for you.
Because he's traditional, exactly. He holds on to that traditional value of a man actually being the breadwinner and a woman being at home. And that's his belief. But the thing is, if you look at reality right now, women are assuming a masculine role. We are actually having to do that role of actually bringing in the money. I heard this powerful, it's a very powerful saying, that a weak man makes a woman more masculine and a strong man makes a woman more feminine. Because your partner can really define how you as an individual react to the life around you. And if your partner empowers you and inspires you, he or she will be there to support you. But unfortunately, we can also get stuck with partners that bring us down and tell us that we don't have self-worth. And if you keep hearing that rhetoric, you start believing it yourself. So you really have to learn to listen to that voice of within, knowing your capability. Do not get caught into the rhetoric of people telling you that you can't. Do. I tell you, just do.
Yeah. And many times people say things, but saying one thing and doing it, they are two completely different things. And one of the reasons I think is what you exactly mentioned earlier, the fear of what other people are going to say. And especially in our women's world, we are very scared of ourselves. So we are the biggest enemy of ourselves. First, we're enemy that comes from the fear within, but also we don't come from a good history where women have really supported each other. And we're still working a lot on that. We have done great progress. It never happened before, seeing women so openly supporting each other and opening doors for each other. But even now, honestly, I must say, it's still a long way to go. And I personally have had all kind of experiences where the biggest attack I have received from women. So how hard is that in politics? So we are in this room, we are all women in business, all women entrepreneurs. We all have dreams. We have a purpose to follow. But from my experience and from what I have heard from many women, the biggest challenge comes from other women. So how do you think you are going to be supported by other women in politics?
Politics is very interesting because it is a very cutthroat environment. To be honest with you, when I decided to run for Mayor of London, I did enter the dragon's den, the lion's den, because you're really against all the odds and it is very male-dominated politics. So being a woman, again, to stand out from the crowd, you really need to listen. And when I say listen, I mean, one of my greatest strengths is listening. When I go across the 33 boroughs across London, I listen to people and people don't feel listened to by their politicians. That's the problem. When people aren't listening to you and they're just dictating to you, you just feel like, why should I vote for these politicians? They don't listen. They're just doing what they want. So when a candidate comes and actually take the time to sit down with you and listen to you, and that's even in business, When you listen to your employees, when you're a leader and you learn to listen, you actually can really understand the problems. You can understand what people need. And when you can understand the needs of people, then you are able to facilitate change, put policies forward. So answering your question, yes, it is very challenging in politics, but I think one of my greatest skills is I'm a people person. I love to listen and then actually come back with some common sense solutions. When you speak common sense, people can't argue with you because you're actually talking something that makes sense. But if you start talking about ridiculous things and, making up policies that just don't fit, then of course, then people look at you as you're a crazy person. So I think getting women on your side in politics, you'll actually find women in politics unite because they know we're a minority. And we're actually more united in the political arena, which is quite funny because in the business world, women are the opposite, even though they're minority, but they need to step over each other to get their seats. But when you're in politics, you're not fighting for the same seats, essentially. So therefore, women tend to support each other more. And that's what my own personal experience I found.
Oh, that's very good to hear. Absolutely amazing. Farah, thank you so, so much.